G'day, g'day, g'day. It's the Mathematical KM or Keith Malumbi coming to you with round 4 of the Tuggeranong Open. This time with the white pieces, playing Liam Brown. Remembering that my FIDE rating is 1440, so he's a little ahead of me there with the 1597. I'm 1464, sorry. So 140 odd up a hill. And I've put this on my games with Liam because it was a little bit interesting. Let's go pick Liam Brown. I've had one game with the black pieces for a draw. Not sure why this is showing. Oh, there we are. It's caught up now. One game where I've had the white pieces, and that was also a draw. So I've had 2 games with Liam. Both times we've crossed swords has been a draw on both sides of the board. So you could call it the grudge match. Okay. The Tuggeranong Open. Just the standings after this is coming into the 4th round. Nobody's on 4. We've got one player on 3. 2 points, which is what I'm on. So you could say I'm in equal third coming into this game. It's pretty good because I am, I believe, the 13th seed currently in equal third. So, yay. And let's go. At the end of this one, I will say this much now. I think the opening got us into the middle game safely, but the old Stonewall attack might not be cutting it for, the built-in attack. I might need to switch up an opening, and I invite comments on recommendations on what white opening you think might be a good next one for me to actually take a stab at. So here we go. Have watched all of Chessbra Aman's from 400 through to 2300 playing the Stonewall attack. Let's see. So far, pretty standard fare. Black is fianchettoing a bishop with the knight there. Stonewall pawns. Black playing d6 to never ever ever going to get myself a knight in the preferred square. c3 was a little bit of a waiting move, just seeing what he's doing. Castled. Got my knight out, the one that would, traditionally in the Stonewall attack like to go here, but, at least it's developed. He has pinned my knight to my queen. More traditionally, people would put that knight here. Castles. Brought another knight out. And starting in this manoeuvre, which I learned from Aman, works, to an extent. Bringing the bad bishop all the way around. So let's go. A6, well, I'm not really sure what's happening there, but it does give me the time to get, and at this point, before I get the bishop all the way, bring another knight here so that black cannot throw a knight into the traditional sort of square for your opponent to plant a knight. The e4 square there. So, but instead he goes with e5. I've finished my bishop manoeuvre, pinning that knight to the queen. He takes my knight. I could have taken with the queen, the rook or the pawn. I thought I'd try and keep my pawns in good nick. Keeping pawns in good nick may well end up being the title for this one. And getting the queen into the game, I think, makes perfect sense at this point in time as well. He's moved his queen to break the pin with his knight. And I've moved my knight. That's on 3.3. Something I missed here. So it drops down to just a small edge, which is what I've gone with for most of the game. But at the moment, just been following, the standard manoeuvres of the Stonewall. Here's me saying maybe the opening's not there, but let's see. F takes E5. Let's get the camera a little bit out of the way. If I take the pawn with the F pawn, the knight comes in. My knight. D takes. Could have exploded the middle in a way that suited me. Oh, I'll tell you this much. I will, after this video, be coming back and taking a much closer look at what I could have been doing here. Now, for what it's worth, what did I play? Didn't explode it as I should have, but I've brought a knight into that square. He's taken back. And now my choices. If I move my bishop here, I'll be inviting a pawn fork. That's no good. So either to C2 or to D5. D5 comes with a check. So we go that way. And it was best. It was a great move, moving his king that way and not into the line of fire. Okay. This is a fairly traditional move in the Stonewall attack. Usually you've got a knight that's been taken by something, but opening this up, which I've now done. He takes back. I felt his knight was strong and I wasn't too sure about what I was doing with that bishop. Computer likes it, and I was hoping to double his pawns, keeping your pawns in good nick. That's what we're looking for. And, doubling your opponents. Had he taken with his queen, I would have taken with my queen, and he still would have doubled those pawns. Okay, so I've brought the rook, A rook behind the D pawn, hoping for a little bit of the old discovered attack. Didn't think I'd get it, but nope. Okay, threaten my queen, move my queen forward. He's offering to let me help him fix his pawns. And no, I'm sorry. You can, if you really want to swap queens, you can come and take my queen. And let's not be fixing your pawns. Okay, so he's starting to build up a bit of pressure. It is protected by 2 pawns, but, bit of pressure happening there. Now, what was I thinking? Oh, it's called good. I was thinking, if I don't move that pawn there, then, because I'm hoping to move this pawn twice to threaten that queen, to perhaps with the bishop-queen battery, let me take that pawn. I guess they say it's good to have a plan or some idea of what you're trying to do. That was the idea of why A3 to allow that, because after I move my C pawn, that would allow his queen in if A3 hasn't been played. And I don't want his queen infiltrating my position. So I've played A3. C5 throws my plan that I just described, what I was thinking about doing. It's gone. I actually had about a 10 or 12 minute think here, and I'm happy with that. In previous weeks, in the Big Hippo series, in some of the games, I had losses where I didn't have a big think, where I this feels like the critical moment. Again, comments on whether or not you feel this is a critical moment. I think perhaps it was. It's interesting to see the computer wants H4 or Rook B1 or B4. I can understand B4 actually, but the two moves I was looking at, And that felt a lot like I'll get that pawn. And I get his queen, but he gets 2 rooks. 2 rooks for a queen, and he ends up with a check. The king can move out of it, but felt a bit messy, and 2 rooks for a queen might be okay, but again, let's not let him infiltrate. And this felt like just... They call it an accuracy, but it's still plus 0.22. Still keeping that edge. And he's going to have to take with the pawn, not the rook. So if he takes with the rook, I will get a up the exchange. So he takes. It's a mistake. And for a little while now, the eval is showing black is better. And I can see, and he does stop me from achieving the plan, but the plan was, we've both got dark squared bishops. Unfortunately, a lot of my pawns are on the dark squares, which is not the happy colour to be on. So I thought if I can lock some of his pawns on dark squares, and then get my bishop around, that type of thinking. And he brings his bishop in. All that thinking about different coloured bishops goes away if I swap them off. And so I'm thinking, well, if I keep the bishops on and I manage to lock his central pawns on the dark squares... So at that point in time, I didn't really feel like swapping the bishops off. So what can I do? Move the bishop here. Apparently it's a mistake. He's moved a rook so he can double his rooks. I want to... Let's go back. That's the move I want to play to lock his central ones on the dark squares and have mine nicely on the white squares. If I move my C pawn, his bishop can grab my B pawn. So what do I have to do first? I have to play rook B1. And there ends my hope of playing C4, and it's leaving my poor old D pawn a bit lonely there, not really protected by anybody. Nobody can quite get at him for a little while. The bishop can never get at him. The pawns can never get at him. And it will take a good deal of rook manoeuvring to be able to threaten. But it's really not protected, and it will be almost as hard for me to protect it. So what do? I want to join my rooks, protect my dark squared pawns, and I want to play B3. Interesting, he's protecting that pawn. I play B3. He takes, I take, open file, I've got a rook on it, and I've got 2 pieces protecting this pawn. I had thought that maybe he would take there, thinking that he would have a rook and a bishop and he was hoping to win this pawn. Should have asked him after the game, actually, if that's what he was hoping there. But I'd realised that when I took, I too have 2 pieces protecting that pawn. He's brought that one across behind to where he's hoping to break through with his F-pawn. I want to move that pawn. If I move it, then there'll only be the one attacker. I will need a defender, so that's why I've brought that rook over here. Okay, F4. Apparently it's a mistake, and apparently I'm up, but I didn't feel confident. E times F4 is apparently best. Interesting. certainly open everything up there. What did I do? I continued my plan for a little bit. Now that's sort of protected my lonely D pawn, and I've got them both on the light squares, and by moving that one forward, discovered protection, if that's a word. Discovered protection for the e-pawn. So he doesn't take the e-pawn, he plays f3. Now I don't want... I need the cover to stay around my king. So apparently it's a mistake, but that keeps the bishop out and his rooks can't come through his own pawn. Okay. Now I do make a little bit of a mistake here. Fortunately he doesn't pounce on it. I'm thinking that if I get my king there, rook there, I can end up taking this sucker. Nobody likes a pawn that close to the end. Trouble is, this guy's tasked with protecting that pawn. So I really need to play king here to do the blockade. But it's a blunder. King f1 was best, and that one is a blunder, because right now he should grab that pawn. But everybody's attention is around f2. I got away with it. He's doubled up on the f2. Let's blockade. Now if I take his pawn now, or next turn, he would take me back and I wouldn't be able to take back with the king. I haven't got enough, but I do have the ability, the pawn's not moving. It's blockade. So he's sending help. Let's get rid of these bishops now. He's sending more help. And I get now I've got the two rooks and the king. Look at the evals on 0.00. Did I mention Liam and I have met twice before for 2 draws? But look after your pawns. Takes, and getting rid of all the rooks, all of a sudden plus 4.9. Deal was black didn't want all of that simplifying. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The extra pawn, one extra pawn only, makes for 5.7 on the eval. Black didn't want all the rooks to disappear, wanted the rooks to stay in the game and try and catch up on that. But, okay, here we go. But +1 in material is plus 6.4 in the eval. Think about that. Anyway, have a look. Trying to bring the king in. Now I know that his king can't get in here. His king needs to go a long way around. Now I've brought that pawn forward so that whichever one of his pawns comes forward, the other one can do the Lego fit to seal off the GH side. His king's on the way around, my king's on the way around. But by the way, I've got a way in. He seriously... That's the best he can do. It's not gonna... I believe I'll be here. He won't be able to go there. My king is winning this race. Where's his king gonna go? His king's only really got there. And when his king does go there, all of a sudden I'll have 3 on 1. I should be able to arrange something from that, you'd think. So, okay, I can get my d-pawn through. Got a queen. Okay. Bit worried about not wanting to give him a stalemate with his pawn there and next to the king. And right now he's minimising his available moves over here. So you can see mate in 3, mate in 4. Funnily enough, if I'd spent another 15 minutes, probably I could have seen getting the king in the right place, queen down, and getting the checkmate without giving the stalemate. But if you see a win, a definite win, a win where the stalemate can't happen and it's just no danger, might take a few more moves, that's what I've done. And strangely enough, when I did that, somebody was walking past, and it probably shouldn't happen in a G'day tournament, but there was a bit of a shocked look on an onlooker's face that I would throw my queen away for that pawn when it was possible to get that mate in 3. Sure. But this is a known. The king and the 2 pawns marching down the board. Black doesn't have a pawn. There's much easier to make sure that there's not going to be a stalemate. Checkmate. So I'm up to 3 out of 4. I was equal third after round 4 in this tournament. Who knows? But I will say this, that the the built-in Stonewall attack doesn't really seem to be getting it. It is getting me into the middle game, but any comments or thoughts or ideas on what might be a nice white opening to step up from the Stonewall 2, welcome them in the comments. And bye for now.